Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Brajanarandana Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Brajanarandana Jaya Yamuna Tirvanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tirvanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radhe. Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe. Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Gauranika Gauranika Ranitai Jaya Gauranika Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Hare Krishna, Prabhu Yuzi Mataji's. Please accept my humble obeisances. Today is a very auspicious day. I was just looking at the Vaishnava calendar and found that today is Madhu Pandit Disciples Day and Srimati Jahanva Devi's appearance days, and also Srimati Radharani, consort of Sri Lord Ramchandra's appearance day as well. So it's a very, very auspicious day. So thanks for joining in. We'll quickly read from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, chapter 20. When you like to, any volunteer like to read the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, chapter 20? We just go 3 pages.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Please go ahead, Mataji.
Bob Correns was looking for the Swami. He was walking with his stylishly dressed wife and 2-year-old son, Eric. Bob was 26 years old and worked as a supervisor in the New York City Welfare Department. He had grown up in Washington, D.C., where he had met his wife. He had a full face and broad forehead, a clear voice, and steady eyes. Bob: After I graduated from George Washington University, I decided to go straight to what I thought was the heart of the material world, New York City, to seek out whatever was the highest truth. I ended up living around the corner from the First East Village head shop. Bob did not think his job as a social worker really helped anyone. His clients over the years seemed to maintain their same outlook and habits. He and his wife frequented West Village coffee houses, had attended lectures by Larry and Albert on expanded consciousness, and had taken part in a recent peace march. Bob had come to feel that his aspirations for a master's degree and a better apartment were unfulfilling, and he was looking for something more. Bob, I heard about the I Ching, a book that was supposed to chart a person's course in life. So I got someone to do a reading for me. The direction was push outward through darkness. I took it as a good sign, a spiritual sign. Then I purchased the East Village Other, and I saw the article entitled Save Earth Now. There was a picture of the Swami. I had read in a book by a Sikh teacher that there could be no higher knowledge without a spiritual master. Every morning on his way to work, Bob used to pass by the Swami's storefront. Curious, he stopped once and peered in the window, only to find an empty room with some straw mats on the floor and one of Swamiji's boys. Oh, these people are Buddhists, he thought. The door had been opened, and the boy came over and invited him in. No thanks, he said, thinking, I don't want anything to do with Buddhism. And he went on to his job. In a head shop one day, he had picked up one of Swami's Bhagavadams and looked through it, but he thought it was too advanced, so he put it back down. After he read the article in the East Village Other, his interest increased. He thought that today might be the last Sunday of chanting in the park before the cold weather came, and so he went to the park hoping to find the Swami and his chanters. His wife was beside him, pushing Eric in a stroller, when he heard the ching-ching of the hand cymbals and a chorus of rhythmic chanting from the south side of the park. Thinking it must be the Swami, he followed the sound, while his wife took Eric to play on the swings. Alone now, Bob drew closer, moving into the crowd, until he could see the Kirtan party and the Swami sitting under the tree. Bob stood among a crowd of hundreds, unnoticed. Everything is happening because of me, thought 19-year-old Judy Kolsky. Everything I see is my own creation, and I am the supreme. Everything is mine. As the thought of being God obsessed her, Judy forgot her father and everything else. She was confused. If I'm God, why can't I control everything? And why am I so fearful on LSD?
Thank you so much, Madhavi. We'll quickly do the invocation prayers. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udiryate nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavate uttame shloke bhakti bhaveti neshtiki. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. So today we will be reading from Canto 4, chapter 28, shloka number 8. And that chapter title is Puranjana becomes a woman in the next life. And the shloka is, I'll just try, I'll read the shloka, and if any volunteers would like to recite the shloka, please go ahead. Atmanam kanyaya grastam paschalam aridushtritan durantar chintam atpanno na lebhe tat pratikriyam. Atmanam kanyaya grastam paschalan aridushtritan durantan chintam atpanno na lebhe tat pratikriyam. Atmanam kanyaya grastam paschalan aridushtritan duranta chintam atpanno na lebhe tat pratikriyam. Anyone like to read? Recite the shloka.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandot Pranam.
Dandot Pranam, Guruji. Please go ahead. Haribo.
Atmanam karnagristam pashala maridushtam dushitan duranta chintan apnano nalavate tat pratikriyam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I am also trying.
Please.
Atmanam kannaya grastam panchala nori dushitam duranta chintamapanno no leve tat pratikriyam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Please go ahead, Mataji.
Atmanam konnaya grastam panchalanuridushitan duranto chintam apanno no leve tat pratikriyam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, we'll go for the synonyms. Atmanam, himself. Kanyaya, by Kala Kanya. Grastan, being embraced. Paschalan, Paschala. Aridushtitam, infected by the enemies. Duranta, insurmountable. Chintam, anxiety. Apanna, having obtained. Na, not. Lebhe, achieved. Tat, on that. Pratikriyam, counteraction. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When King Puranjana saw that all his family members, relatives, followers, servants, secretaries, and everyone else has turned against him, he suddenly became very anxious. But he could not counteract the situation because he was thoroughly overwhelmed by Kalakanya. Purport: when a person becomes weak from the attack of old age, the family members, servants, and secretaries do not care for him. He is unable to counteract this. Thus, he becomes more and more anxious and lament his frightful condition. Om Jnanatirmendasya Jnananjanashalakhaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Tapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamishya Shri Rupam Sangajatam Sagana Raghunatanvitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitan Mishra Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So once again, the shloka is Atmanam Kanyaya Grastam Paschalam Aridushtritan Duranta Chintan Atmanno Na Labhe Tat Pratikriyam. When King Puranjan saw all of his family members, relatives, followers, servants, secretaries, and everyone else has turned against him, he suddenly became very anxious. But he could not counteract the situation because he was thoroughly overwhelmed by Kalakanya. So in the previous chapters, we have already seen that who was Kalakanya. Kalakanya was the daughter of Time, and they were attacked by two more personalities. One was Yavan Raja. He was like a disease, which is given by the Lord himself, which is in the form of Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik, and Adi Atmika. So there are three kind of diseases that we generally get from Lord Vishnu. And the last one is Prajvara, which is the fever, which is given by Lord Vishnu as well. That's again the form of hot or cold, which is also known as like typhoid or pneumonia, So this all given by the Lord. And I think, as said earlier, my connection may drop off. Sorry. My apologies. This technology is like this. 2 seconds. I hope you can see my screen now.
Yeah, Prabhuji, you can see that.
Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. I was expecting this. Today there will be a bit of disruption. Yeah, but if one time happens, I will go on my phone then. So we have seen from the previous chapters, there's Prachura, Kalkanya, and Bhay, which is Yavana. Yavana Raja is the fear personified. They have all attacked the city of Puranjan, which is also referred as the 9 gates. And Yavana has entered the city through all the openings of the 9 gates, which is like disease entering this body. And we've also seen that Kalkarni has embraced and gradually Puranjan has lost all of his beauty and opulence. And because of this all situation, which is scattered, the town has been scattered, and he can see that, his son, grandson, follower, secretary, wives has become, indifferent. Seeing the situation, Puranjan has become very, very anxious. So this is an example, it's an allegory story of Puranjan, which has been told by Narad Muni to Prachandabhari. And it is so that he can understand from this story, like, how when we were kids, we were been given the synopsis, the story, what is the moral of the story, so that we can easily understand from the story what is the moral, what we can take from the story. So similarly, Narad Muni is trying to give this allegory story of for Puranjan, which is indirectly relates to the lifestyle of Prachetana Bhari. So we're talking about the old age and how old age affects in material world. This is how we have to take this story in our day-to-day life. This is what we're going to discuss in this particular shloka. So we can see if someone asks us what is old age, most of the people will gonna say that old age is when, we have got white hairs, we cannot see, we cannot eat, the teeth are broken, or, people may have loss of memory, they cannot eat, the handshakes and all that. So we need to understand, first of all, what is old age. So old age is not, what I have just said are just symptoms of old age. It's not exactly old age. Even a young person may have Parkinson's disease. He cannot eat, his hand will shake. Even the teen person have got a disease called Alzheimer. He will forget things. And not only that, they will have uh, people may have white hairs at very young age. So not that's sign of old age. Or people may have lost their hands, they cannot walk because of some disease, some accident. So they're not termed as old age. So what is old age? If someone asks, basically, so old age is these are all symptoms which relates to category of old age, but that doesn't define old age. So if we have to define old age is like when the person has lived his life from childhood to youth to manhood, and now is slowly deteriorating, and he's on the deathbed, closer to death. That is called as old age. So he has lived his whole life. So it's not that all of a sudden he is born and after 10, 15 years he met an accident and his hands and legs are broken, he's lost his memory and he's sitting on the bed. That's not old age. Old age is when he's lived his life completely. That's what old age is. And that's a very good thing about Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that, these are the instruction that we have to follow. And as I said earlier, that stories are like, which we can correlate very easily. So Bhagavatams are all case studies of the personalities who have followed those instructions. So in particular for this reference, for this particular shloka, where when it's come to old age and the person is on the deathbed, what should be our priority? So Bhagavad Gita very nicely says in chapter 8.5, Antakale chamame vasman muktva kalevaram, right? This is what we should be doing when we are on the deathbed, right? And we have seen examples like Bhishma, Gajendra, when they were thinking of the Lord, and they went back to Godhead, thinking of the Lord Himself. But at the same time, very next shloka, 8.6, it also says Yam Yam Bhabisman Bhavam Tete Antakale Varam. So if you can't remember me, whatever state of mind you remember, you will get that body for sure. And that's also Krishna guarantees in Bhagavad Gita as well. So there are many personalities, for example, in front of us. Puranjan, he was thinking, lamenting about his wife and kids, and what happened? He became a woman in next life. Jad Bharat, for an example, he was thinking of deer. He became deer. So these are all the case studies in Srimad Bhagavatam. Particularly, all these references are, whether they are following the instruction of Bhagavad Gita or not, are all in Srimad Bhagavatam. So we can see in this elaborate story of Puranjan that he was too much addicted to his family, wife, possessions. And if you see in our day-to-day life, we have got exactly the same tendency. We have got exactly the same tendency that we have gotten a propensity to accumulate more, whether we like it or not, we have got that tendency. If we have got, say, for example, if we have got some money kept on the street, we'll take it and deposit in a bank account instead of keeping in the temple. This is a tendency. This is a human tendency. This is Maya, which is we are very engrossed. We need to understand we are very conditioned. That's why we are called as conditioned soul. We are not liberated soul. We are conditioned. And that's why we have got an asakti of towards all these things, attachments of these sense objects, and at the end, which will give us pain. So the whole life, what we have done is trying to possess, is also trying to accumulate things. Like there are many people who like reading newspaper. This is, if you give them any free time, they will open the newspaper and start reading magazines, novels. This become their hobby of reading. Sometimes they're watching cricket, news, casino, gambling, playing lotto. This become their part of their life. This is what happened at the end. Whatever you remember, you will get that kind of body. There are quite a few examples that the person has been walking in rain using just a small plastic bag whenever it's rain, just to save money, and he accumulate that money in the bank. And people walk, I want to save money to save money, so I don't need to spend it on a taxi. Rather, I will walk for 15 kilometers instead of spending money in taxi, and accumulates the money. And it's for what? For the next generation to use. So I was just reading one on His Holiness Mahavishnu Maharaj Granth website. It was very nicely said that at the end of the life, whatever is left in your bank account, whatever is left once you passed away, whatever wealth you have left in your bank account is called as useless labor. It's called completely, because you're not going to use it. You have worked so hard for someone else. It's called as useless labor. That doesn't mean that you will spend everything and just leave $0 for your next generation. Give little bit, but doesn't mean that you have to leave the whole empire for them. You have to leave your own life as well. But this is what is called, which really tricks me, which really enlightens me, that whatever you have earned, and if you leave in your bank account, it's called as useless labor. And this, most of the Indian parents do this. I have to work hard so I can give it to my family members. I can give it to, when I leave, I'm going to leave it for my family members. And this thing we don't understand. The whole life, what we are doing is the preparation, and the death is the examination. We need to understand this. Death is the examination, and we forget this main part. We always focus more on enjoying, that we forget about death part completely. And that's what happens, when the old age comes, we have got lots of desires. When we are young, we have got desires, we can do it. But when it comes to old age, we can't do it. Our body doesn't cooperate of doing it, you know. When we are young, we have got no money at all, and we have lots of time and with lots of energy. But when we come to manhood, we have got lots of money, but no time because we are busy working and we have lots of energy. But when we got old, we have lots of money, we have lots of time, but we have no energy. We cannot walk, we cannot go, we cannot dance, we cannot do anything. Old age is like that. We are completely bedridden. We are just counting our last breath and getting frustrated because we cannot do things what we like. That's what old age is. And if you see, we have read quite a few shlokas in the previous class from Mukundamala Sotra. And I just got this nice verses from Bhaj Govindam, which is written by Sri Adi Shankaracharya, which was not less than 1,000 years back. What he writes is amazing. I just thought to share this with you. It says, strength has left old man's body, his head has become bald, his gums toothless and leaning on crutches. Even then, the attachment is stronger, and he climbs firmly for fruitless hope. This was just written by Sri Adi Shankaracharya. And this is what exactly we can see what is happening, that people got so taken away with the material possessions because they want to enjoy, no matter they have got their body is cooperating or not, they want to enjoy it. Attachment is so strong because we have taken birth so many times that we have forgot that there's a another world above this material world. 15.1 Bhagavad Gita, Urdha Mula Madashakam. This is a reflection of the banyan tree. We forget this. We just think this is what is happening is reality. And what happens because we are so much engaged in this family life, what happens, the next shloka says, so long as a man is fit to able to support his family, see the affection of those around him shows. But no one at home cares to even have a word with him when his body deteriorates due to old age. This is why we can see there's so many old age homes has started opening up in back home in India. 50 years back, there was no old age care, I don't know the exact Hindi word for that, but old homes, the rest homes, they were not there. But now there are so many. People are moving toward modernization because they want to sense gratify their own things, So that's why old age is like a burden. Who will take care of them? So put them in old age. And they visit, maybe probably they may not visit, they kick them out, they take all their possessions, the kids, and this is what they don't see that this the same thing's gonna happen to them as well when they grow old. So we need to understand that the human being is also a social animal, and that's why there are so many old clubs, old age homes where they, go out, old people, they laugh for no reason, they have to do this because man is a social animal. They need to keep engaged, but they don't know how to keep them engaged. They look this small thing as an object of sense enjoyment, but they don't see what is the real purpose of their life. And the next shloka says, when one is alive, the family members inquire kindly about his welfare. But when the soul departs from the body, even his wife runs away in fear of the corpse. So the same person who was when he was alive, people used to tell him, how are you, sir? And as soon as the money stopped coming in, what happens? The same how are you becomes who are you? The same word HOW becomes WHO. Who are you? And that's the reason why you will see, as I said earlier, there's so many rest what do you call the old age homes in India. So I think I said the wrong word, rest homes. I think rest home, I don't know. But yeah, old age homes in India. This is keep on increasing. And what happens? We are taking birth, death, birth, that keep on going on and on, because we don't know the real solution of this cycle of birth and death. And that's what Adi Shankaracharya says in the very last shloka. Born again, death again, birth again, stay in the mother's womb. Indeed, hard to cross the boundless ocean of samsara. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi jananam, jatre senam. Iti samsare bahudushtare, kripya pare, pahi murare. O Murari, redeem me through the mercy. We don't know how to get out of these clutches of Maya. And that's what ISKCON comes in and just say, what we need to do, the process. And this was coming from Mukundamala Sutra. This is what the old age is. First of all, because we have got so much done in our life that we don't know what things needs to be done. We haven't done any devotional service, so it's very difficult to get devotional service in the old age. That's what people say, This is the young, you are young, it's time for you to enjoy. Bhakti to budhape mein karna, bhakti is meant for old age, not now, But let's guarantee that if we haven't done devotional service in your life when you were young, when you were manhood, it's practically not possible. You will be doing devotional service when you grow old, unless you have given mercy by a real purified soul like Srila Prabhupada or a sannyasi, Otherwise, practically not possible. Ahaitu kripa jab tak nahi hogi, it's not possible that you will develop the taste of devotional service. It's practically not possible. So if you have not done any seva, no devotional service throughout your life, old age is not possible. If you take that person somehow or the other to the temple who has not done devotional service throughout his life, first of all, it's not possible for him to do devotional service. Secondly, somehow or the other, you take him to the temple, it will be very hard for him to go because he can't walk, because he will be having clutches as per the Adi Shankaracharya's code, he can't walk. He will be very difficult to smell because he may have allergies, he can't see the God because he may have glasses. On the top of the head, that if someone asks him to chant, he can't chant because of, as we said, as you can see in this Mukund Mala Sutra, because of kaf, vat and pit in his throat. He is very difficult for that particular person in that age to come out of his comfort zone and chant the holy name when he is struggling to even stand. This is what the old age is. And the thing is, we always think that's okay. It's okay, chalta hai. What I'm doing is good. At least I'm doing something, And we keep on getting entangled the whole life. We're tangled with this wife, kids, family, possessions, and we keep on decorating ourselves with whatever things we want, and just spend most of our time, with this household things. And that's what it says, in Srimad Bhagavatam 2:14. Person devoid of Atma Tattva do not inquire into the problem of life, being too attached to the fallible soldiers like the body, children, wife. Although sufficiently experienced, they still do not see the inevitable destruction. So Prabhupada very nicely explained there are two kinds of householders. One is called Grah Medhi and one is Grhastas. Both of them are related to the same thing. Grah Medhi means the one who, the Grhastas are the one who main object is self-realization. Whereas Grah Medhi is the one who want to satisfy their senses, sense gratification is the main objective. So Grah Medhi they want to support their wife and children, and they live very comfortable, well dressed. That's what their motto is. They want to enjoy and they want to live lavishing life. That's what Grah Medhi are, and Grah Medhi wants simply their objective is, as I said earlier, want to decorate themselves their house, position, want to show off. They do all those karam kandi things. They do yagnas so that they can get more money. To do this yagya, Lakshmi Puja, do this to get more money because of, so that they can sense gratify themselves more. And that's what it is less like, आज किया है, कल भी करेंगे, कल करेंगे, परसों करेंगे. Just like chewing the chew. That's what Prahlad Maharaj says. Punha punas charvitam charvitam. They will keep on chewing the chew. We are doing the same thing again and again and again. As I said earlier, it's just because we haven't seen death, right? None of us sitting here would have seen or experienced what death is. That's why we don't take too much of importance of that. If someone says, I have got an headache, we can visualize, we can see what that pain is, because we have already seen how headache feels, how migraine feels. If someone says, I have got a toothache, gum ache, we can visualize, we can feel that thing, because we have all gone through that phase. But if one says, have you seen that? Have you experienced that? None of us in this room would have seen or experienced death, what that is. And that's why we don't give too much attention to that thing. And that's why we just close that book and just move on. No one has experienced death. So how we can imagine what death is? No one has seen the pain of the death when the body leaves, when the soul is coming out of the body. The pain is equivalent to 60,000 scorpion bites in the body. No one has experienced that. So if no one has experienced, how can we even think of what death would be like? We know death will be there, but chalta hai na. Everyone is sab ji rahe na, kya farak padta hai? It's like that, So no one is preparing for the death. And that's what, if you see Yaksha asked Yudhishthir Maharaj, what is the most wonderful thing that you can see? He say, Yani Ahani Bhutani, the hundred and thousands of living entities meet death at every moment, but a foolish living being nonetheless thinks himself deathless and does not prepare for death. That's what the most foolish thing is. We have seen so many deaths happening around us, but we are not preparing ourselves. This is what the inevitable truth will happen to all of us one day. In this room, everyone has to face this. We have taken birth. We're going to get death as a byproduct. Whether we like it or not like it, this is going to happen. So once we know what the process is, if we have wasted our life, not too late, we can still develop the taste of Krishna by surrendering ourselves to someone else. Right? So if you see, what's the best way how to prepare for death? It's simple. We have been given by Srila Prabhupada, always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. This is the two main things we have to always remember. And this remembrance will never come that easily. We have to practice that. Practice and sincerity has to be shown. Then slowly and steadily we will be able to feel this always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. I was His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj. I just saw a small video clipping where he was sleeping and he was doing the aarti, showing all the paraphernalia of the deities. I mean, how much dedication he would have done, we can see him, his life and soul doing the aarti when he is on the bed, but he is dedicated because that's what he has done throughout his life. So as long as our mind is stable, body is physically strong, that's the time we should perform our bhakti. That's the time we should be reading Bhagavatam. That's the time we should be focusing more on devotional service. That's the time we should be doing lots of seva. Because when we get old, at least we will be satisfied and happy that, I haven't been given a chance. I did my best of my ability. I was not lazy. I did not miss any opportunities. I didn't wasted my time watching movies and this and that. I did everything with my full capacity. So if now I'm old, I can simply easy for me to remember Krishna's name, chant easily, and go home back to Godhead. And that's how you can see the devotees, whether they leave the body or sorry, when they leave the body, they've got a huge smile on their face because they know what the reality is, what the truth is. Because for a normal person, when they leave the body, they want more time to enjoy more. Whereas when the devotee leaves the body, they know this is conditioned world. I'm suffering here. I want to go home, back to Godhead and enjoy there with Krishna. The two deaths happening in the same room. One is materially inclined, one is spiritually inclined. The person materially wants more time to enjoy more in this material world, whereas the person who's spiritually inclined wants to leave the body so that he can enjoy with Krishna. That's the difference because he has regulated his life. Because he knows what the scripture says about the spiritual world. And that's why we can see, Tirubhav or Avirbhav. We celebrate that. Tirubhav we celebrate because the devotee is going back home, back to Godhead. Avirbhav because he has taken a birth so that we can get his association. We just celebrate that. And again, this has to start from the very early age, as how Shriplad Maharaj says in 761. One will have sufficient intelligence should use the human body form of life from the very beginning of life. In other words, from the tender age of childhood. The practice, the activities of devotional service, giving up all other engagement. The human body is most rarely achieved. And although temporary like others' body, it is meaningful because in human life, one can perform devotional service. That's what the most important thing is. We have to remember that the only name, chanting of the holy name is the only thing that's gonna go take us back to Godhead. So we can see that the chanting of the holy name was also in the other yugas as well. It's not only meant for Kali Yuga, for Kali. This was there in Satya, was there in Treta, was there in Dwapar, and is there in Kali. But apart from chanting, there was other means of mode of liberation as well in other yugas as well. Like in mode of like the mode of liberation in the mode of Satyuga was doing the meditation, but chanting was there as well. In Treta Yuga, it was chanting as well as yajna. And Treta, it was chanting as well as Archvigrah. And Kali Yuga, because we are so contaminated, we can't do anything else. We can't fix our mind. We are quarrelsome. We are short-lived. We can only do chanting. That's why for Kali Yuga is only chanting. If you see an example of Ratnakar, he was a dacoit. And Narad Muni came and asked him not to do, and Narad Muni didn't ask him to and said, you have to start doing yajna, you have to start doing meditation. He said, take the name of Lord Ram. He can't say Ram, he said Mara, Mara, Mara. But eventually what happened? He wrote the whole Valmiki Ramayana, chanting the holy name. When Hanuman was crossing over Lanka, he didn't saw Vibhishan doing the yajna or doing the tapasya. He heard the name of Ram. And then he came down, he found Tulsi, and then he went inside. So chanting was happening at that time as well. Prahlad Maharaj, on the other hand, he was not doing any fire sacrifice or Arch Vigraha or doing meditation. He was doing chanting, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Dhruv Maharaj, he was chanting the holy name. Chanting the holy name is the only way for us to go home, back to Godhead. And that says, Hare Nam, Eka Kevalam, Kalo Nasti, Eva Nasti, Eva Nasta, Dathir Anyatha. There's no other way, no other way, no other way. Chanting is the only way. And if we do that, If we engage ourselves in Krishna, what does Krishna says? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 8.5, Antakale Chamam, the last line, Yanti na asti atra samsaya. Of that there is no doubt. Lord Krishna says, and what does Lord Ram says? If one surrender unto me sincerely, saying, my Lord, from this day, I am fully surrendered unto you. I always give him protection. That is my vow. That is Lord Ram's vow. That if someone says that I am fully surrendered unto you, it's not that difficult to surrender unto the Lord, but that comes only if we have practiced sincerely. That's what the most big condition is. We haven't done practice, so we can't show this thing when it's time come to leave the body. And there may be many cases that when we are about to die, when we are about to leave the body, what happens? We cannot even focus properly. But if we have done our sadhana bhakti very nicely throughout our life, no matter what, at the end of the life, even if we can't concentrate, what happens? What does Bharapuran says? Yadi vadi doshena mad bhakto mam na sprate aham samarami mad bhakta name param gatim. You say, if my devotee is unable to remember me at the time of death because of disturbance felt within the body at the time, then I shall remember my devotee and take him back home, back to Godhead, in the supreme abode. That's what the guarantee of the Lord is. Whether in the form of Krishna, Lord Rama, Vara. I mean, if you look at the whole last three slides, isn't it? It shows that we are not that desperate to go home, back to Godhead, as much as He is desperate for to take us back to Godhead. He's waiting with open arms so that we can, He can embrace us. But we are entangled in this material world and want to enjoy this material world, thinking this to be a reality. That's what the problem is. Because we have taken birth so many times, we have taken uh, 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 after 8.4 million species, we have taken birth. We have forgot our relationship with Him, and we think this material world is reality, and the spiritual world is mithya, is imagination. So in this particular shloka, we can see how Puranjani is feeling at the time of death. All of his family member has neglected him. Like how we see in practical world, people when they grow old, they become burdenable. We cannot serve them. That's why there's so many old age homes that has been opened up. They let the father parents go there, and because the young generation wants to enjoy themselves, so they kick out their parents to the old home, and they say you enjoy there, and we want to enjoy here. Practically speaking, old age is very difficult. Uh, when we see all those examples, old age is very, very difficult, very, very harshful, because there are so many desires that we have got, we cannot fulfill it. And that's why we become more frustrated for a material person, whereas for the spiritual person who is inclined, who has done devotional service for him, old age is a blessing, because they know after this, the destination is back home, back to Godhead. So I leave this. This is the a golden opportunity for us. We have been given a human form of life. Take full advantage of it, so we can all meet back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. Any questions or any add-ons? Please go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, done with Pranam Prabhuji.
Thank you so much for enlightening this text. Is so small text, but you elaboratedly explain so nicely to make it understandable for each and every one of us. It's so easy to understand. But the real point is this, as you mentioned, we don't care about the old days when we are young, because we are not aware of the life cycle, how it happens and how it finishes. But if we channelize our life through this the spiritual connection, with the help of the association of the devotee, we can channelize our life. And that's what 7.61 Prahlad Maharaj is saying. The right age is Kaumara, not the old age. So you have to prepare yourself, because anything you do, you need to prepare. Preparation can help you when your body, mind, and intelligence helps you in the same direction. If they are in opposite direction, you cannot concentrate. So to channelize all three in the same line, you need to practice right early stage, so that at the end you don't struggle. So these are the lessons, and you have given so much good examples from the Mukundamala Srutam. As you say, in the old age or adult stage, or you are in a renowned position, everybody asks, how are you? And how it turns into, who are you? That is what actually life tells us. So we need to prepare ourselves before the situation comes like that. Who are you? It is better to channelize our life from Grihamedi to Grihastha. And that is the true division is given by Shastra, so that we can prepare ourselves and understand the importance of Grihamedi and Grihastha. Even if we are in that stage as a Grihastha, still we are able to go through this process, make ourselves ready, and set out for the spiritual journey. Processes are there, only the good thing is inclination is very, very important, and that is possible by the association of the good people, or as per Prabhupada, is the devotees. Devotees help us to choose the right direction of our life, so that ultimately we can leave our body in a happy mood and try to go to back to Godhead. If not, still in a better position rather than this material world. So eventually, in the next cycle, we may proceed to the Golok Vrindavan. So that is the lesson. And this King Puranjana is experiencing now, but the time is very late. So there is no, that's why everybody is leaving him. And he could realize at the end. So he has become, who are you now? Yeah, everybody is leaving him. So that is the very best lesson for us to understand the importance. We are all aging slow by say every day, every moment we are approaching death. But to understand the importance of the death and impact of death, it is best time to prepare ourselves for the next journey. Thank you so much for enlightening this verse. It's so important in our everyday life. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
No problem, Guruji. Hare
So
Krishna.
nicely explained, giving so many examples from different sources. Thank you for that, for explaining the verses, small verses in so nice way. Thank you for that. And only one point to speak on that. You have very nicely explained that one has to understand why in this material world that all his so-called support, so the Atmashoination, all these soldiers, they are fallible. So depending on them is not a correct position. And only the Lord is the saver. Shurida Sarvabhutanam. He is the friend of all living beings. And so we should surrender to a person who can really give us shelter. So we should, from the beginning of our life, as Prabhu has also explained, Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu has very nicely explained that one has to do it from the beginning, and so that we never miss the target and always remain focused on that. And even living in this family also, because most of us are living in a family, so we should not be Grihamedi, but should be Grihastha. And ultimately, at one point of time, we should have a mind to detach from all this and fully surrender to the Lord. And that is the only way to go back to Godhead. And how sincere we are, the Krishna reciprocates accordingly. If Krishna does not interfere with one's independence, so if we are not fully surrendered, the Krishna will also not respond favorably, because our attachment, he never interferes with the independence. So we'll come back to the material world again. So if we are fully surrendered to the Lord will reciprocate accordingly, and we have no doubt by the words of Guru and the Vaishnavas, mercy will go back to the Godhead. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, there is a question on the chat.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. If we fail to become Krishna Das in this life, does that mean our family won't make it to Vaikuntha? Guru says that our family, 7 generations, both forward and backwards, eventually make it back home, back to the vicinity. So I'm just trying to understand, the question is, if we fail to become Krishna Das in this life, does that mean our family won't make it to Vaikuntha? Where's family coming if we are not going, if we not getting the question properly? If we fail to become Krishna Das in this life, does that mean our family won't make it to Vaikuntha? Guru says that our family. Yes, I mean, what I understand from the question is, we cannot become devotee in this life. Does that mean our family won't make it to Vaikuntha? Can you elaborate this question, Mataji, if you can? I'm not able to understand the question probably. If it's about us, our family, is it if we can't make it Krishna conscious in this life, is our family won't make it to Vaikuntha? Is it, or we can't make it to Vaikuntha? So what it means. As far as when Prahlad Maharaj approached Lord Nrsimhadev and asked for the boon, Lord Nrsimhadev had said that, your 7th generation forwards and backwards have already gone home, back to God, and including his own parent, his own father, Hiranyakashipu. But I'm unable to understand about the first line which you have said, your family and yourself. It says, if we fail to become Krishna Das in this life, does that mean our family won't make it to Vaikuntha? I'm unable to understand.
Prabhuji, can I clarify that? I mean, I don't know who put in the question, but my understanding is, if we become a devotee, 7 generations, how many generations before and how many generations after, also gets liberated. I presume someone asking the question, if we fail, they don't get that advantage. Although we might make some spiritual progress, but family doesn't get anything. I think is that the intention of the question, I think?
I mean, if you look at the example, Hiranyakashipu definitely failed, right? But because of Prahlad Maharaj, who was sincere devotee, he got liberated. He got liberated anyway. So anyway, he got liberated because Hiranyakashipu killed. Nrsimhadev killed Hiranyakashipu anyway. So even if say, for example, father or forefathers may not be a perfect devotees, but if someone in their lineage has become a pure devotee of the Lord, definitely their 7 generation forwards and backwards will gonna get liberated.
I think the question is, what if we did only halfway through, we couldn't become a pure devotee in this life? Will the family get anything, or they just get 0? I think that was the question, maybe, I think.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu. That was the question. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, if someone fails in this life and someone, family members, for example, became a devotee, then definitely the person may not, who was not a devotee will still get liberated because of.
Yeah, I think very nicely you said it, Prabhu. Chitra Krishna Prabhu, you said it yourself that it's not like self-dependent. No, it's whom you know rather than what you know in devotional service. So as very nicely as you said, even though Hiranyakashipu was such a big demon, even Krishna arranged it such a way that his son got him liberated. So
Yes.
even if to some reason, because of my own laziness, because of my own evil inclinations or sinful inclination, even if I fail to this thing, but I have done some little bit of devotional service, but even by mistake, if I have done Agyana Sukriti, Krishna will arrange in such a way that some future generation he'll create a devotee so that I get liberated. So nicely Krishna arranges. He doesn't depend on just our effort. He is so merciful that he somehow arranges one of even through our family members or something. So I think very nicely you said it when you gave the example of Prahlad Maharaj and Hiranyakashipu. Yeah. No, that's why I just wanted to add that, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I hope that answers Jade Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu, thank you so much, everyone. That answers my question. Thank you.
I think nobody has got more comments or any feedback. We can.
So, there is no other question. There are no other questions. Thank you very much for the class. You can conclude the class now. Panchakalpatarubhyascha
Patitanam Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav ki jai. His Grace Chitra Krishna ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai. All glories assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.